Hey there, YouTube. I'm back with another episode of that Road to 315 bench. Some things went really good this workout, some things not so much. So let's get right into the video. You see here is a clip of me about to press some 100-pound dumbbells. I like pressing, what is it? I like pressing dumbbells over barbells. It depends on the situation, right? Barbells compounds typically for strength, that rule holds. But with the dumbbell, not only can you see like if an individual arm is like lacking behind the other, because we all have these slight imbalances from side to side, but it also lets you get a deeper stretch at the bottom. You get, especially if you turn the dumbbells in where they come down by your torso, you can go lower than a barbell would typically allow you to go. So that is a very good use of those. I like using dumbbell presses for that reason. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been starting off with a dumbbell press just to give myself a little bit of a break from a bench, right? The order you do an exercise, we all know, matters. It takes, you have more energy at the beginning of a workout, so you may produce or push more weight, more force. So doing it later in the workout, you may be forced to use less weight, switch up the variation, and focus on some other characteristics. You see me here doing some, I like to call these rolling tricep extensions because that's what they remind me of. I use these as like an explosive movement to try to really get my triceps firing. Yeah, the form is sloppy, just trying to move the weight and try to feel it in my elbows, even if you don't believe it. But the triceps, this is a chest day, right? So the triceps, they're almost a third concern of mine. They're not high on the priority list. And so like, yeah, it matters to get that work in, but it's not as serious as the bench, right? My goal is getting to a 315 bench, hence the title. That would be goal number one. Goal number two is gaining some chest mass, some chest muscle, whatever helps me get to that goal faster. So I'm focusing on those two things. So while tricep work is important, it's not as important as I would typically rank it on, say, a tricep day, right? So I do one set, but I've said it before in past videos. Sometimes I do one set, but I feel like, I didn't stop because of weakness. I didn't stop because I wasn't able to produce enough force. It may have been something else, right? Maybe my elbows bothering me, so switch up my form a little bit. It may have been I'm out of breath. It may have been just like I just need a second. So I like to always, depending on where I am in the mesocycle, right, where I am in the workout, I like to double up on sets. Hit a set of doubles or a double to seven, triple to seven, whatever. I like to just go for a couple myo rep match sets just to really feel the burn. You see me doing some tricep extensions right now. This isn't a tricep day, but I do have quite a bit of triceps in there. Just something to get a pump in them, to get them moving, right? I do feel like they're important in pressing. We know they're important in pressing. So I do a couple tricep extensions, but my primary focus is that dumbbell bench, right? Later on in the video, you see me doing a bench press, and then you see me doing some flies for the stretch. That's where I'm putting the majority of my efforts in this workout, and that's something I think went really well. Sometimes in the past, I've had trouble getting like a really good chest pump, right? But not this workout. Like, I feel like the pump today was immaculate. I don't know what I've eaten, but it works. Okay, next up, you see me getting ready to do some tricep extensions, right? There's a couple of reasons why I was doing these. I felt like that particular motion, that pushing motion, the way my arms were, is very similar to the bench press, like how your arms are pushing, very similar to the dumbbell press. So I felt like it was beneficial, right? Like a machine, they're nice because they allow you to kind of overload in a way that you wouldn't be able to with a straight up free weight. You can kind of lodge yourself into the structure of the machine. You can use that as leverage and then just push. So you can use a little more weight, get a little more stimulus. I would use a little more weight on this. I did the stack, but it was 250 pounds, right? But I was only dumbbell pressing 100 pounds, so I felt like did this for a nice little pump in my triceps for that pushing and a little bit in my shoulders. And then I went back to those dumbbell presses and I felt a lot stronger. So I did a couple burnout sets here. Again, the goal is just to get a light pump in the triceps, but I'm not trying to destroy them, right? everything I'm doing in this workout is to benefit chest growth. It's to benefit some sort of function of the workout. So here you guys see me doing some, oh my gosh, it's some flat bench presses. Flat bench presses, 205, 45 and a 35. This was after pressing the 100-pound dumbbells. Excuse me. I felt like these were really good. I'm not going to say I didn't get as many reps as I wanted, It was at the end of the set, but I got a good result, right? I was focusing on my chest. I do seem to have a slight problem where my butt rises from the seat, so I'm going to have to work on that. But got a good pump in my chest, really focused on that pressing muscles. Even I just felt like it was in a lot more control than it was in the past, right? I felt like I had more control of the bar, and that's that skill you get from just repeatedly touching, repeatedly pressing. You're going to like notice little tweaks and things like, oh, hey, this set went better than the last set. And this is why. And these are the things that you carry with you from workout to workout, and that helps you like progress. Like a thing I did really good here, my feet are lodged in. I learned this from like Freaky D, another YouTuber, but like I have my lower body tight. I got that little bounce, that butt rising, but I'm pressing off my legs, right? I'm using, when I come down with the bar, I'm trying to reverse that momentum with the pressing of my legs. I'm trying to use as many muscle fibers, trying to recruit as much muscle fibers throughout my body as I can. Even if they're not directly related to the pressing, I'm doing what I can, right? So you saw my pressing. Here's the stretch exercise portion of that. I love me some chest flies. What is it? When I started a couple months ago, definitely a couple months ago, dumbbell flies were kind of irritating my shoulder, right? Like just their free weight, having that large of a range of motion was irritating my shoulder. And so I switched to cable flies, right? It's a little more structure, a little more rigidity, but I still have that freedom to play with what feels good and where I can really feel the chest at. And so love cable flies for that reason. With these, you don't have to go heavy. I don't always go heavy. It really depends. Most of the time, it's to get a stretch in my chest. It's you see me stretching on that backrest there. But most of the time, it's to get a really good stretch. So I'm going with lower weights. I'm slowing down the eccentric, as you can see, and it's really helpful. What I'm using in the back, I don't even know what you call it. A backrest. It's just a part. This is a Cybex cable machine, like those little standalone units with the two cables. I know most have this backrest, and most people are like, what the heck is this for? At least I know I was. I found they're really useful in giving you a little bit of structure in that cable machine. So don't just shit on, for lack of a better term, don't just shit on something that you don't understand. Maybe look at it a couple times. Try it out in ways, even if you look silly, you might figure out something that works. And if it works, right? Even if it's silly, that's progress, baby. And so I like using this. The camera fell, but that's a good thing. It gives you a little bit of a better view. I like using this because I could just lodge my body up against it and focus on moving my arms and squeezing those pec muscles. Like, the whole time, I just felt like my chest was ripping, especially at the bottom. And like, you don't want to rip a tendon. You don't want to like rip a muscle off the bone, but you want to feel a stretch in the muscle, right? This tension is what encourages hypertrophy to take place. And so if you can do something for a better stretch, do it for a better stretch. Get that pump, get as much blood in the muscle, and really hone in and focus on what you're doing. We're back to benching. Gotten another set, right? Because there's several things you can practice. You don't always have to go heavyweight. You don't always have to go high sets. But just repeatedly touching the bar is going to give you that skill that you need. And it's still, It's still stimulus, right? This is a stimulus versus recovery equation. I've said this before. You need to stack as much positive stimulus that is indicative of growth in whatever manner you want, right? Do you want strength growth or size growth? You need to stack that kind of stimulus, and then you need to recover, right? It doesn't matter how you get it in at the end of the day. The human body is adaptable, but you need stimulus, you need a challenge to adapt, and that is why I just keep coming back to the bench. I'm going to switch it up. I'm not always going to go for heavyweight. Sometimes I'm going to go for lightweight and just practice. Sometimes I'm just going to go for reps. And you got to be smart with your training too, right, guys? Like, I'm not telling you to just be 1,000% gung-ho. Like, you be a little sensible with your training, but understand that, like, there's a bit of uncomfortability with strength training or even any training. Like, I like to think, I heard somebody say it and it just replays in my head, but I don't know whoever told you this was easy, but if you see people lifting 600, 700 pounds, like, it's not easy. This is not going to be an easy endeavor. So I'm saying that to say, like, learn how to push yourself within boundaries, right? Learn to push intelligently. Like, that's what I think of, like, these doubles, these sets, these myo rep sets I'm doing. I'm conflicted here, right? You hear me making all these noises. I'm an endurance athlete by nature. I started off running. I used to do a ton of volume, but I'm having a hard time working back into that, right? But so these myo rep sets, these match sets, are an attempt to squeeze in volume and to get my body used to it. If I can do a set of 5 presses, take a 30-second break, and then do another set of 5 presses, well, damn, I have to be able to do at least 7 presses next week. Like, that's what I'm looking for, these kinds of growth signals. And like here, I'm pressing. If you fail a set, understand why you failed the set. Was it a missed groove? Was your breath off? Did you do something wrong? If you fail, don't continue to keep running into the same brick wall. Know when to rack the weight and switch gears, right? I do my heavy pressing, and then I go back to my squeeze, my stretch exercise. And this is not something that I came up with. This is something I learned. I read in, like, Arnold's book, The Re-Education of a Bodybuilder. But I got reminded recently when I was watching an Evan Centopani video. I'm trying to get better with names. But I was watching one of Evan's videos, and he says, like, I believe, go watch the video, I'm probably going to misquote this, but he goes back and forth from press to squeeze, press to stretch. Like, he's pressing, he's stretching. Like, those are his primary moves during the chest workout. And, I mean, he's jacked, guys. He's like 290 pounds, and I don't even think this man's 6 feet. Like, and so watch videos, educate yourself, learn lessons, learn techniques, learn ways to push yourself, learn new ways to train, and incorporate these things in your training in order to become a good athlete. This lighting is immaculate too, guys. Like, I don't even know, like, it just slaps. Like, I've never been golden. I am golden. Sorry for that tangent. Had to point it out. But, like, push yourself. Don't be afraid to push yourself. Don't be afraid to get uncomfortable. Make a little noise. Maybe if you gym, won't kick you out. And yeah, if you fail a set, know when to rack it up, know when to push. You see me going for my final set of bench press, feeling a little ballsy. I added 2.5, so just 5 pounds on the end. It's 210, whatever. If you look, it actually feels like it went better than the last set. So, like, that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, there was no excessive amount of rest in between sets. I think I got this done in like 75 minutes, and it was more exercises. But, like, I failed one set. I came back to the next set with a little more weight and got out similar reps. There was a technical failure to recognize in the last set. And, like, seeing these things and knowing these things is going to help you go further. So I pushed my sets. That's something that went really well for me today. And then even after this, like, I do a burnout set, right? Burnout sets are still useful even if you drop the weight back. There's percentages. There's these ranges that we can work in. Oh, look, I called the set. I touched the bar. I knew it was too heavy. I knew it would be more effective to do a burnout set, and so I switch. This is the type of the intelligence and the type of adaptability that you need during your training if you want to be a good athlete. But getting back to my rambles, I did a burnout set because there's these effective weight ranges that we can work in, right? We know from science, we know from research that you can work up to about 30 to 90% of your max and still get some kind of benefit from these weights, depending on the reps you do, the speed, the tempo at which you do your reps. So you don't always have to train heavy, but you do always have to train, with some kind of common sense. So let's watch this burnout set. Let's see how it goes. It felt pretty good. It's taking forever to start, that preset preparation. But look at my feet. I'm locking my feet in. I'm trying to squeeze the bench with my hips. So when that bar comes down, I have something to push off of It's not just my arms, but I have my feet to push off of. Look at that. That's that shake that I perfected. But you know how I did it? Once again, I'm going to keep hammering the same point to you guys. I did it by practicing, right? Like, I'm sure I had this skill in the past. I've been doing this a decade. But sometimes when you do a move less, these little variations, these little tweaks that help you be more effective, you forget them. They fall out of your head. But by doing something, by doing these touches, no matter how light or heavy they are, you learn skill. That's another reason why people say to practice how you play, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is all motor patterns. These are all habits that we've instilled in ourselves. What's your form? How do you move? So these habits correlate to what you do, obviously. So the way you practice is the way you're going to perform when there's heavy weight on the bar. Respect the weight on the bar. Treat lightweight like it's heavy and treat heavyweight like it's light, and you're guaranteed to be more successful. So I believe that's all I have for you guys today in terms of this video. If you made it this far, be sure to like down below. Thanks for watching, as always, and peace out. I got one more set if you guys want to check it out, but otherwise, peace out. No more useful commentary.